Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here, and I really enjoyed listening to the talks of Matthew and Samuel. So just as a heads up, I actually did not prepare slides, so I was hoping we can maybe use Felix, slide as a background.
Yes, I will. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I just have one slide to that I'd like to also put up, but we can also maybe do this later after I spoke some words about my person. So some words. I was actually born and raised in Austria, to be more specific, in Carinthia, in Kärnten, am Ossiahassee. Yeah, so this is where I actually grew up, and I actually come into this biosciences, life sciences world from a very computational perspective. So I actually got a degree from the HTL in Villach for software engineering. And then I moved actually to Vienna, stayed there for 10 years, got a master's and a PhD in computer science. So this is actually where my training happened. And since a little bit more than 10 years, I actually live in the US. So this was after I got my PhD in Vienna. I decided I want to move once to the US. And so it worked actually out for me. I got a postdoc position at Boston University, stayed there for 3 years. And I was interested staying in academia, and, getting some tenure track position at a university here, but it didn't work out, right? So I had to actually, adjust my plans a little bit. And I still wanted to stay in research. And here in US, actually, we have this nice system of national labs. They are funded from different governments. Like I, for example, worked in at the Joint Genome Institute, affiliated with the Lawrence Berkeley National Labs, that are actually funded by the Department of Energy. And so here in this area, we worked a lot on DNA sequencing, DNA synthesis, and DNA editing. And due to my background in computer science, it was always one of my tasks to provide computational support to develop software tools that are accessible via the browser, or to develop some computational pipelines that analyze the data that comes out, for example, of the sequencer, and transforms it into some graphical way that makes sense then to the scientists. Also at the Berkeley labs, I worked there for around 6 years, and then it actually I really wanted to explore a little bit the startup scenery, right, which is very big here in the Bay Area, a lot of entrepreneurship and startups, and I really wanted to experience it. So I left actually my group leadership position at the Berkeley labs and went to a startup, very promising one. It's called Inscripta. They work on a box that can do millions of genomic edits on your strain using actually the CRISPR technology that also Matthew was talking about. So it was really, really challenging and tough and very nice experience. But at this startup, I wasn't able to see me getting back into management. And this is what I always wanted. And about half a year ago, Takara Bio USA gave me actually this opportunity that I can go back into group leadership. And that's why I also joined. And it's a global company with a lot of great products on the market, very well established. Everybody knows it. And so this was actually one of my reasons why I joined, to actually learn more about management, plus also how industry really works. And so far, I really like it. And I'm very happy that I made this steps. So this was a very, very short description about my life so far. And I'd be happy to, take any questions or.
Yeah, great. You're in US now, or you're working remote from Austria? In US, okay.
No, I live in the Bay Area. I'm working from home today, yeah. But I live in the Bay Area, yeah.
Cool. And you said the company you're working on was Inscripta?
Inscripta, yes, exactly.
Inscripta, yeah. Okay. And there's something like Syntego, comparable to Syntego?
Yes, exactly. So Syntego is also a little bit of a competitor in this area. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we're working with Syntego and doing some knock-ins, and they now realize nothing is as easy as they promised in the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly.
When you don't have to pay actually when it's not working, but time is anyway passing. Yeah. So somehow. For the customer, it's
time's the money. Yeah.
Yes. And we have a question from Srinka, also a scientist now finishing her PhD. Srinka, please.
Great.
Hello, Ernst.
Hello.
Thank you very much for. It was really nice to hear your career story and your thoughts. I was wondering, can you hear me properly?
Firstly? Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was wondering. What do you think? Is there a difference between a group leader in academia and a group leader roles in industry?
Yeah, good question. So I have to admit I do not have any experience in group leadership in academia, only in a national lab. And so national labs I would consider a little bit in the middle between academia and industry. It's just research without teaching, and but you still have customers, and you get the funding from actually some government. So in academia, what I was actually seeing, it's actually very, very tough to become a professor and to become, somebody, a PI. Yeah. And, not everybody gets this position. It's a lot of PhD students and, only one professorship or so. Right. And I'm not so sure if there are many management positions, below actually a professor. Maybe when you have bigger research labs, like in some universities here in the US, I don't know in Austria, but yeah. So I think, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're right. The funnel is quite narrow then in the end. Yeah. So exactly. 100 to 1 or so.
Yes.
And you're also maybe fit or fit not. And it's a timing question also.
Exactly.
You said you like the management part. What do you think makes a good manager? Which skills do you have that you can lead your team properly?
Yeah, so I think to a management, it takes a lot of different parts. One is for example, to be resilient. Yeah. One other is you should know what you want, right? So you need to make up some rules in your group and just establish the culture in your group. I think it's also important that you are actually technically skilled, and this was actually my main reason why I wanted to go a little bit more into management. I work a lot on the computational sides of biosciences, and it doesn't challenge me that more, right? It's very simple for me to write such pipelines or web tools or the like, and so I wanted to really grow and go into management and share my knowledge, share with.
Yeah, cool. I think with this esprit, with this motivation, then you are anyway a stripe. Yeah. We have a very nice question from Lukas Engelmeyer. He's himself a bioinformatician, as far as I realize this, and he asks you now, how essential are bioinformatics skills these days to find a position in industry, and is the world already saturated with pure wet lab biologists? I hope not, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's based from my experience, it's important, right? So I mean, data is I think the oil of the 21st century, and so you need computers in order to process this data and learn out of it. So it is very, very essential. And what I actually can see, it's that there's a little bit a move towards doing more in an automated way, right? I mean that the COVID pandemic has definitely shown that we are not prepared for this, right? How long does it take that a PCR test or the results get back to you, right? So, so in this case, I think you will find a job easily as a bioinformatician. Saturated with pure wet lab biologists. Yeah, I don't want to say yes or no to this question, but I think it's important to be very, very interdisciplinary, right? That you actually know how to do your wet lab work or your experiments, plus then also maybe write some scripts that analyze your data. And as I said, that this is I think my thinking that it needs to be interdisciplinary.
Yeah, it's like the office skills you needed 20 years ago. You need now some computational skills, some advanced ones to compete. Yeah. I understand. Thank you. What was your initial reason for wanting to go to the US after your PhD? Also, would you recommend a master student from Europe to do a PhD in the US? From Dominika Marciniak.
So can you repeat it?
Yeah. So why did you went to US after your PhD? Why? And would you recommend that a master student makes a PhD in the US?
Okay, so number one, that the reason why I moved to the US is since I'm a little boy, I'm very into hockey, and to me it was always one of the goals to just have the opportunity to go to an NHL game after work. Yeah, and so that's why I wanted to move to the US and experience it once. I moved to the US after I got my PhD as a postdoc, and so moving as a master's student to the US to do some PhD. I think there are really great universities here, right? I think that the top of the world, like for example Stanford here, or Berkeley, or MIT, or Harvard, on the East Coast. So I think if you want to, try for it, but also start early to get connections. So this is very, very important. For example, when you're at conferences, to talk with people, or just try to extend your social network. That some people there.
Great.
And I think such events like this are great opportunities.
Yeah. I really like it. And this online format now enables us to talk to you in US, and so it's the good thing we got from the pandemic now, actually, that everyone is familiar with this. There is Sophie Zalaka from the Medical University of Vienna, and she's being in a leading position yourself. Who are the people you are learning from, especially in the beginning, and about management?
So yeah, well, I think only speaking in terms of management, I learned that from my managers, and looking at them, how they do it, right? And I have to admit there are a lot of bad managers out there, and that's nobody wants to work for a bad manager. So also I think earlier it was that the question was to Samuel, is an MBA required? So I think that there's no MBA required, but definitely you should do a little bit of training, to do some online courses, or I think nowadays there are a lot of courses in order to learn management. So this is what I would recommend. And also looking at your peers and seeing how they do it, taking some good things from them, and throwing maybe the bad things away. So that's what my recommendation here in this. Yeah. And I think that there was a second part to this question as well. I may have forgotten.
I think that was it actually. From this part, the additional skills set regarding this management, I think, is then also some people skills to deal with anger, motivate people, don't demotivate them, and so you have to have a sensitive hand, so to say.
Right. Yeah. This was actually in my case. This challenged me nowadays a little bit more than writing some code.
Yeah. Empathy and so. Yeah. Cool.
Exactly.
Okay.